Let's engage session. Yoo! I'm Joyce Chen from APNIC, and I am the facilitator / moderator for today. I know that on the website we listed some speakers, but this is going to be a very different kind of session, okay? If somebody could close the door, maybe, just because the noise is filtering in. I have some basic house rules. So first of all, this is an informal conversation. It's a dialogue. There's not going to be a panel. I don't have any speakers on the stage, as you can see. And it's not going to be a one-way session where you are just seated there and you're just going to listen to somebody speak something, okay? You are all welcome and you're all encouraged to contribute and to speak. So that's the first house rule. Second house rule, all questions, and I'm going to show them on the screen in a bit, are open to anyone to answer and respond. Third house rule, this is a safe space. It's to share knowledge, it's to exchange views, ask your questions, be critical. And because of that, the fourth house rule is let's be respectful, let's be constructive when we're making our comments, when we are asking our questions. It is totally okay to ask challenging questions, okay? Challenge one another. Ask the difficult questions, but let's all try and do this in a respectful manner. And finally, last house rule, when speaking, please introduce your name, introduce where you're from. If you're speaking in your own capacity or on behalf of an organization, we would like to know, okay? That's it. And that's all I have in terms of an introduction. So today we're going to talk about policy development. It's really more of a beginner's one-on-one type session. And if I could have the question on the screen, please. So again, this is interactive. Get your mobiles out, get your laptops out. We're going to do voting. We're going to do responses. I'm going to make you do work, basically, which is what policy development is all about. So join us at menti.com. There's a code up there. I do apologize. It's very tiny, 2702-7809. I'll just give a moment for people to sign on. And as well, of course, for those people who are joining us online, very happy for you to join in as well and to hear your views. But for now, the question that I wanted to sort of warm us up with is, how long have you participated in internet policy development? Just to get a sense of, who you are in this room. So everybody, please input your answer. I think we have at least maybe 30 or 40 people, I think, in this room. So I should see more than 10 responses. So the first option is I heard about internet policy development only today, or maybe only the first time because this is my first APNIC conference. I've attended a few conferences before, so I'm kind of starting my journey. Another one is I've attended many conferences, but basically never really participated in any kind of policy development. The next one is I have submitted proposals before for policy, so it means that it tells me that you are actually active in some way. The next one is I have never submitted any proposals, which is, again, totally fine, but I have been in those discussions. And then the last one would be I have not submitted, but I have voted. So it is a different kind of participation again. Just waiting on whether there's anyone struggling to log into this and to anyone? We good? Okay. Anyone else haven't responded, struggling? Okay, so I guess we have quite a mixed bag. I'm very pleasantly surprised that we're sort of in the middle band I was expecting more newcomers, maybe in the first two, I would see more responses there, but actually I'm glad that there's actually fair experience in conferences, even in submitting proposals, etc. So there's this, I think this session will be very interesting. It tells me that we have a mix from newcomers all the way to veterans. Next question. Easy question. Just a yes or no. Very simple, very quick. Do you have a say in how the internet is run? The lonely one. Oh, okay. Now we have two people who said no. Any more? Easy question. Go on gut instinct. Okay, so I guess we're sort of preaching to the choir here. I don't really have much more to say to this. Next question. So, starting from this question, this is open-ended. There's nothing left now for you to type. This is where we have the mics ready, roaming around, and you can give your response on the mic. So remember house rule, when you're speaking, please introduce yourself. Please tell us where you're from, tell us a bit about yourself, and as well your comment. And the question is, what motivates you to participate in policy development? Again, simple question. Maybe I pass the mic to Justin if you would like to do a first response. Introduce yourself, please.
Thanks, Joyce. Thank you to APNIC for having me here. My name is Justine Chu. I am a member of what is called the at-large community in ICANN. I think most of you will be familiar with what ICANN is. I don't have to explain it, right? In terms of ICANN, I think we normally say that ICANN is responsible has connection to three areas, which is names, numbers, and protocol. Okay, so I'm on the name side of things, and that's what predominantly the at-large community concentrates on in ICANN. You have the numbers side of things, which is what APNIC concentrates on. So you guys here are in the APNIC community. I'm not so much APNIC because I have limited time, so I spend my time in the names space, right? I have been involved with policy development in the ICANN space since, 2013. So I think, I'm kind of known as the policy wonk in ICANN sphere from the at-large community. And the at-large community advocates for the individual end users, okay? So my main motivation for participating in policy development is the fact that I don't want to leave things to other people. I don't think that's fair. I want to have my say in the way the internet runs, and in particular, the way that the domain name space runs, which is what ICANN does, right? It's there to coordinate the unique identifier system. And I think it's very important as a representative of the end user community to tell people who are in the policy development space what the end user perspective is, right? So I see that as my role in the policy development. You know that ICANN is, a lot of it is about the registries and the registrars, and the contractual obligations, what they're supposed to do, what they are obliged to do, what they're not obliged to do, and we have this constant tension about, the registries are doing not enough on the one side, and they say, oh no, you can't tell us how to run our business, leave those kind of things to ourselves. But the other thing I want to point out is the fact that ICANN is a great example of a multi-stakeholder model, right? And that is why I play in ICANN, because I get to have my say as part of the multi-stakeholder model community on behalf of end users. I think I'll hand the mic back over to Joy.
Thanks very much. You've made some good points, I think, also worth following up on. I also had this question raised to me in a panel about, multi-stakeholderism and how does it work in APNIC? And it's not so obvious because ICANN is a very clear structure, but not so much for APNIC in terms of we have that multi-stakeholder community with clear stakeholders, clear groups, and clear sort of roles for people to play within the community, right? So I might shoot that question to Bertrand, who is our APNIC policy chair and our policy whiz, and I think he might have a view as well on how does multi-stakeholder really work in APNIC.
Thank you, Joyce. Bertrand Charrier from New Caledonia, so I'm the policy SIG chair for APNIC. What motivates me to participate in policy development? The first thing, well, I started in 2013 too. And yeah, obviously. And don't want to paraphrase what you just said because I'm just about to say the same thing. The first thing I've noticed is that even though I'm on my own, coming from a tiny island in the Pacific, I have a voice and I was heard. And this is the most important thing. It's not, you don't need to be big to be able to shape how the internet works. Anyone can do it. If you come up with a good idea, everybody will listen to you, and if the idea suits everyone in the room, then you'll have changed something on the internet to make it a better place for everyone. Not mostly for the Asia-Pacific region, but sometimes policy that goes within the APNIC region give ideas to other IRR, and you end up with a global policy. And you're just that one tiny person on your own somewhere on the planet. And this is, well, this is how it works. And it's one of the reasons why I was interested in the policy in the first place. I've noticed back in 2013, there was a policy pushed by AFTAB, I think it was. And I didn't really agree with the thing. So I step up and ask questions. And well, I was not expecting people to actually listen to me and to take what I was saying into account. But it's exactly what happened. And it's a very nice feeling. So I encourage every single person in this room and outside as well to participate. You have your voice. Make it count.
Thanks very much, Bertrand. Just show of hands quickly, because the slide, it's anonymous, but if you have participated in policy development in some way, any way, just a show of hands, okay? So, Chris, would you like to talk about your experience?
Okay, sure. Hi, so my name's Christopher Hawker. I attend the APRICOT and APNIC conferences in a personal capacity, although I do have some representations for a few different organisations. To answer the question, what motivates me to participate in policy development? The fact that I can submit a proposal which has the potential to be passed into policy that can affect hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, is what drives me to participate. You know, I can put forward a proposal, you know, I can review policy, have a look, identify areas. If I can see that there are holes in those areas that can be filled and it does benefit the community, I can submit those proposals, discuss them. As Bertrand said, people listen to you, they understand you, they hear you, and then if the community agrees with you, it has the potential to make a big impact, and that's generally why I myself do participate.
Thanks, Chris. And I saw, before I get to you, I saw a hand from Saima. would you like to speak on this?
Thank you so much. First of all, I'm Dr. Simon Issar. I'm basically from academic. I'm a lecturer in Jammu University, but what I'm going to say, it's on my own capacity. First of all, your question was what to motivate you. At first, when I was not involved in these kind of capacity buildings and these conferences, my thinking was that the policy something belongs to those who are very senior, very mature persons. They know, they have all this knowledge, so they can make the decision. We, as a newcomer, don't have that much amount of knowledge and understanding to make decisions. So I never thought I can be a part of this policy. So during my PhD, my supervisor forced me to go towards to the policy side. I don't want to do that. And because of that, I delayed my PhD 1 year because I was trying to avoid it and she was trying to force me. So in the end, I have to follow my supervisor. I have to do that. So my research work was a part of that policy recommendation. Then I realized, oh wow, this is something really nice. Then first of all, I got involved in APNIC. In APNIC was the first my experience when I see how the policies proposed are proposed here, how the discussions made, how the discussion become heated, and then we decided and we take the census from everybody and how this process is going on. Because I was the part of the mailing list as well, so I got all the emails, this proposal is submitting, this proposal is rejecting, there are some corrections you have to make it, or maybe it's not submitted this time, you have to submit it again. So I saw this process by myself. And then I realized, okay, now everybody can participate. After that, I got involved in the APRIGF, where I have got to know a lot about how the internet works, how people meet. And then I realized, okay, what is the multi-stakeholderism? Everybody have a voice. And then after getting 2 years experience, I can say that policy is not for the very mature persons. Actually, it is for the new generation, because whatever the policy we are making today, maybe we will not live longer. But those who are coming, the new generation, Gen Alpha, Gen Beta, they have to suffer all the consequences related to these policies. So their involvement are more necessary as compared to the older generation. Definitely, we need guidance, we need support from the older, but we need to support and give path to the new generation. As a lecturer, I can see there's a very big difference in our thinking and the new generation, especially Gen Z. They are totally different from us. Their thinking, their voices are different. So we really need to get involved these people also. So now I know policy is not for one person. Policy is for everybody, and we all have to participate here, and we have to learn that. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much. I feel like I have only one working mic. And I also saw a hand here. So Zhongyi, I'll pass to you.
Okay, thank you, Joyce. And my name is Zhongyi, and I come from Taiwan. And I want to say one thing is because our secretary mentioned that he worked for policy over 20, 30 years. I born in 2002, so I am 22. All right, so I'm an APNIC fellow in 2022, maybe 2 years ago, and that is what I really to know what is the internet governance. Let me tell a short story because I was applied for the APNIC member and some internet resource from the regional internet registry because I want to do some lab and I need a public IP resource. And the one thing is I was confused who can really gather internet resource, who can apply for it. Only the ISP or enterprise. If I'm an individual, can I do that? So I start to check, oh, that is the policy-based question. So I go to check, oh, APNIC has their own policy, and it's made by the community, and it's a very long history. So I check a lot of time. During to now, like even 2024, 2025, we still have a lot of new things because the world is grow up. And like for this year, I submit a policy proposal which is regarding to the who is server. And because I saw that other regional internet registry has this feature, but the APNIC does not, so I want to try to make some change, so I do that. I think everyone can participate in internet in policy deployment, just you need to take a time and to do that. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks very much, Zhongyan. And this question is coming from a more personal view, like, from a personal individual point of view, why you might be motivated to participate. Is there anyone else who wants to share? Oh, yes, Nicole, come.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Nicole Jan. Currently, I'm elected an RNC from APNIC region, also the member of ASOAC. Come back to the topic. What motivates me to participate the policy development? For me, I think there are at least two reasons. In the very beginning, because I was practicing lawyer, so I have dealing with so many internet issues, including the domain name dispute and something like that. So at that time, the first reason is we need a very practical. We need to solve the issue and start learning what kind of what is the past so many fathers of internet has built up the triple W. And the second reason is that I found that there is a very good model that is multiple stakeholder model. Then we can participate and to shape or reshape a better internet under the discussion and within different opinions. And currently, I would like to say that currently I have participated a very special policy development procedure. Maybe you have heard about the ICP2. The ICP2 is very special because it is the ICP2 is not through the policy development under the IR's procedure, and it is also not fit in the certain. ICANN structure. It is not a global policy development, not a global policy. So we, as OAC, we have asked to enhance or empower or review the ICP2. So we need to make the process and all the discussion transparent. So we need to develop a procedure. So please pay attention to the consultation procedure. And just today, this morning, the NRONC has already published a consultation report, collect all the data on the website. So this is a very interesting thing. It is not a global policy, and it also not a normal policy development under the RRs. So there are so many different ways, so we need the multiple stakeholder models. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Nicole, and thanks for bringing up the ICP2 review, which is so important and which was also discussed at the APNIC 58 Wellington Cooperation 6, so please go back and watch the recording if you weren't there. But this is a perfect segue from moving the individual to not the individual. So the next question. Why should anyone participate in internet policy development? So we're moving away from personal reasons. It could be career development, it could be I had a need, so Zhongyi had a need, he saw that there was an improvement needed and then he started to participate. But this is a broader question. Why should anyone participate in policy development? Anybody want? Alban, let's go.
Alban from CSC. I think speaking on that particular question, I think we are forced to participate in policy development in some sense, because I think internet policy is some kind of thing that if you basically just ignore it, sooner or later it will go one way or the other, and it could go a way that actually doesn't work really well for your business. And in my company perspective, it is actually what happened. So there's a lot of phishing issues, DNS abuse issues, and basically we find ourselves in a situation where we can't actually help our customer to deal with this problem unless we also understand what is the root problem and participate in resolving it. So, and that's also one of the reasons why I started to come to APNIC as well, and that's because phishing issues, DNS abuse issue, it doesn't exist in a vacuum. It is not directly only related to DNS, but also IP addresses, all the foundational technology of internet is part of that ecosystem. So my answer is that whether I should, but I'm forced to.
Anyone else has a different take? Yes, someone. Terry, are you going to run over? Thank you so much, Terry.
Yes, I come Shuman, and I should introduce myself as the past policy chair of APNIC before Martha. So why it is important? Because the policy what we are developing in APNIC or any other forum that is for all the stakeholders in the community, and it's a diverse community. Different region has a different kind of need, right? In Japan, IPv4 address is not a problem yet, but in the Asia-Pacific region, it's a really big challenges. I just mentioned one policy that passed probably in 2018 or 19, I guess, that we reduced our IPv4 allocation size from /20 to /22. And that's probably the reason still APNIC has some IPv4 left for the new entrant in the community. So that's really impacted, especially those who are trying to enter into internet now, because we know still in our region, probably this is the largest region with the largest population, internet population. Also, the largest population here doesn't connect to internet, don't connect to internet. So it's a very special case, and that's why probably APNIC still have IP addresses. So it's important to raise your need so that the policy actually reflects that need. And we know it's the multi-stakeholder model. We hear everyone's voice. And if you don't raise your voice, your need will be ignored. So that's why I think it's very important everyone who working with the internet should keep an eye on the policy development, and if necessary, just jump in and raise your voice. Thank you.
Thanks, Sumon. You brought up a great point about sort of the size of the Asia-Pacific region and sort of all the different diverse needs that need to be met. And I also wonder whether there is something to do with legitimacy of the model and where it relates to why people should participate. I don't know if anybody would like to speak to that point about legitimacy. Take us. Again, this is a casual session. Justine, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. This is Justine again. So I think it's important for people to realize that they should not take the way the internet is running for granted. Okay, a lot of times we know it runs and we know it serves us, right? But things could change, right? And if you don't have your say in keeping, for example, the internet open for everyone, right, then you could further down the track find that, oh, you are cut off from the internet by way of a decision made by somebody else, right? And that's why you need to participate in the internet policy development to keep your needs, to keep your ideals alive in that process. And that's why this multi-stakeholder process, multi-stakeholder model is so important, because it gives you the avenue to have your say.
Anyone else? Bertrand, you too.
Two answers to this question. First one is, why not? And the second one, again, I'm going to very close to what you're saying all the time. Anyway, we're in agreement on this one. If you don't say anything, if you don't participate, someone else will. And if you just take it for granted that there's nothing you can do about it, and you will just do nothing, That's not the way to do things. It's not a democracy. It's much better than that. Everyone can say what they think. Well, provided they're respecting the others and blah, blah. But it's very important, and I insist on this, everyone can and should participate. Because if you don't, it's just like not saying anything when you see something wrong. It's bad. It's bad for everyone behind. So yeah, you should participate, and you can participate. There's no entry fee. If you can't come to an APNIC meeting, you can participate online. You can participate through the mailing list. There's always a way to express yourself, and even if you just say, I agree with you, it's always better than saying nothing. And sometimes it's, even if you say, well, I don't know, or I don't care, but still you are expressing yourself. And when we try to reach a consensus, it's even more important to have everybody expressing themselves. Not saying anything is, sorry about that, stupid.
Excellent point. So in summary, my takeaway from that is that if you don't participate, or if people don't participate, but yet they have needs, you essentially cede the right to have your say, right? You're giving up control, basically, in a sense, of how you might be able to influence the direction of policy. I might then go to the next question. This one is a bit more interactive. You can actually type in your responses if you don't wish to take the mic. But what attributes do you think are needed to participate in policy development? So what kind of person do you think is ideal to participate in policy development? What kind of skills might be needed? Feel free to type it in if you wish. Eagerness, okay? Yeah. Sure. Drafting, I think that means drafting skills, so you have to be good wordsmith. You know, every word matters in policy when you're drafting a policy. Commitment, yes, because policy development is a long process and you have to sort of be there every step of the way. It's very hard to go midway in a policy. Now we're getting more responses. Good, communication. So the person who typed in communication or good communicator, would you like to speak on that? Who was that? Oh, Justine again. Or, okay, let's have a different other person speak up. Thank you. And could you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, Leif Sawyer. I'm from a small company in Anchorage, Alaska, a communications company. LEIF, for the record. Being able to articulate what your thoughts are on a policy is extremely important to the community and to the policy authors. Authors need that feedback to understand how their policy will be impacting the community, right? Being silent provides no feedback. So in this case, communication backward to the author is very important.
I want to pick up on that, which was that feedback. Policy development is all about the feedback loop. It's not just about the submitting the proposal, you've done the first draft or the straw man, and then we're done, right? Then we just vote on it, we're good. It's that feedback. The real process that takes place is when the feedback is occurring. And so attributes, again, as you see, patience, because feedback loop takes time. You have to respond back to the person who made the proposal. You have to explain the points and clarify back and forth and back and forth. There's a lot of understanding needed. I'm not sure why there's apricot there. Maybe it's a fruit. and an APNIC. Yeah, so very good attributes. I don't think everybody here has all these attributes, right? This is like the ideal person. It's a good to have, but everybody has a starting point. You have to just start somewhere, okay? Next question. So why might people find it hard to get involved? And just back to your point about communication, right? You have to articulate the position. And here we are using English. But whose language, first language is not English? There we go. So already you're kind of at a disadvantage. So again, you can type your response in. Why might people find it hard to be involved? Maybe it's lack of awareness. You don't even know it's happening. You know, who heard about ICP2 before people started to talk about it, right? Too much jargon, there's a language barrier. Not having the big picture. I love that. Who wrote that? Come on, let's hear from you. What do you mean by this? Please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Shafiul. I'm from Bangladesh, and this is my first time in Apricot. Well, I'm with the regulatory, and also I'm also learning from here. Well, when you are talking about the policy development and you are talking about the multi-stakeholders, so you have to think for the end user, and then the layer where the network and internet is moving, and the system itself. So there are technology and there are non-technological people at the end state. When you are talking about the policy development, so there has to be a bridge between these two technical people and non-technical people. So having no knowledge on the broader picture, that's probably the biggest challenge in our sector, I mean the IT sector, to make the people understand that what actually the future thinking is and the good governance for the good governance and also for the betterment. That's my understanding.
That is such an excellent point because it's all about bridging technical with the non-technical. Not everybody in the room is going to be technical and vice versa. And so in the previous session at the Cooperation SIG, we talked about the WSIS plus 20, and the point was brought up, you have to bridge both. We have to speak language in both ways. And there are people in this room, each of you has that skill. You can bridge that gap, but it does take a bit of effort to sort of learn it and to want to do it. Okay, what else? No time, yeah, we have no time. No employer support. Oh, but then how did you come into the room? So who wrote no employer support? Who was that? Okay, go ahead. So then how did you find yourself here, if that's the case?
So there's two, Leif Sawyer again, two avenues to this, right? Your employer may send you to these meetings to learn, to network, to go to the peering sessions, but they don't want to spend your time working on policy that may or may not impact them from their perspective, right? So as a community member trying to get involved in policy development, selling the importance of that policy development is very difficult for younger employees, right? Less senior employees. As a senior employee, it's very easy generally to get that support. But for new people in the industry, yeah, it's
So
very
true.
difficult.
So true, I see lots of nodding heads. There is definitely that divide. The amount of influence that you would have to convince your employer to please bring you to an APNIC conference and please let you, be part of the policy development. I'm going to quickly move on because I'm mindful of time, but I might extend the session a bit because I know we started late due to the technical problems, but let's move on. So again, we're trying to be constructive, right? We've talked about some problems, but this isn't just a complaint session. Everybody knows the problems, right? You know your own difficulties, but I want to talk about how we can try and overcome them. So any views? So for example, if you have that problem of, I don't know how to convince my boss why I should be here. I'm still kind of junior, so what should I say? Is there anyone here with that experience? You've had that conversation. How do you kick it off? How do you even talk about this with your employer? Anyone? Simon, come. Behind you.
Before answering this question, I want a clarification. You are asking about the specific regarding the policy, or just to going to the conference or anything? Specific policy development, I don't have much answer, to be honest. Yeah, but I can make the communication between these two things. First of all, like I have to come to attend this meeting today. I don't have a support until or unless my class is not attended by myself. I have to take my class. So in that case, if you want to attend these kind of events, your employers don't support you in that case. They said your first priority is your job. And by attending this event, I'm a foreigner. Maybe after 2 years, I will lose that job or I will move on somewhere. So they will not get that benefit as much as they think. So any employer don't see much benefit in that case. So if I have to attend these events, I have to be very careful about my job. All the responsibilities should be fulfilled first. Then they think about anything else to involve in it. Okay, thank you.
Thanks very much for being candid. And I don't think many of us are sort of trying to get into the conference and not have our employers sort of supportive of it, right? So anyone else has a view as to, how can we... Yes, Sienna, go ahead.
Hi, this is Sienna from APNIC, and this is such a useful conversation because I'm going to plug one thing and then suggest something that APNIC could do. So the first thing I'm going to plug is we have a pilot, you may have mentioned it before, a pilot fellowship starting this year about policy development. More details will be announced at the AGM, but it will be promoted widely over our blog. It's quite a small fellowship because it's a pilot to start with, but look out for that. The second thing I think might be of use, and I'd be really interested to hear if I'm on the money here, is that APNIC could look at providing a page or two that highlights the importance of why people should be involved in policy, with the potential audience of giving it to your employers or giving it to your boss to kind of make a business case. And what we could do is take some of the voices of the people who have spoken here today and put it in there so that it's a bit of a easy handover to help people convince their bosses to send them.
Yeah, I want to add on that because it's happened in my company, in my university. There was one more employee in my department. She got the fellowship from the US and the university didn't allow because it was during the semester. So that company or that US company, they sent the notification to the dean and the VC with their letterhead. And they were forced to send there. And they now in every meeting, they said, oh, you went to that place. Now they drag this as something they achieve as a company. So I really appreciate that one. If you do that, I think it will definitely go on affect more. Thank you.
Lovely, lovely idea. And do we have any other ideas? How can we encourage? Yes. Sorry, maybe we go to the gentleman at the back first and then we'll come to the front.
Hi, I'm Kana from APNIC, right? I think the first thing that needs to be focused on is broadening the definition of policymakers, because some people tend to assume that policymakers are a special group of people who specialize in things, right? And I feel that whenever there's a forum or a discussion, generalists are as important as specialists, because generalists are the people who basically connect dots rather than just focusing on dots. So I think broadening the definition of policymaker, it's pretty, I mean, to convey that message is pretty important. Right?
So kind of question back to you. Because at the APNIC conferences, there are a lot of technical folks who are specialists or niche in the work that they're doing. So how do we find those people with the broader skills and bring them in?
This might not be a direct answer, right? But since I represent MINOC, the past 5-6 years, we've been trying to make an initiative of broadening the definition of network operators itself. We've been doing it slowly. We're winning small battles. We haven't won the war yet, right? So because I think last year I presented during the Welcome Room magazine, we usually see the usual suspects, right? The ISPs, the CDNs, right? And are they the only network operators, right? Running a network within a campus, within a university, or even within a startup, right? Or even if you're a company that just from a financial sector that outsources to a vendor who think that this might be a relevant platform, they have to ask the questions, right? Who decides on the choices of the vendors? Who sets the requirements for the vendors? So in order for you to even do that, right, you need to have kind of a rooted understanding of what's required. So, right, so I think the last few years what we've done is, first was approaching universities, bringing in students. Even if the topics could be overwhelming, we just wanted them to get that exposure, right? That there is a neutral platform out there. You don't have to be just specific certified with branding coming out, right? They need to know from the early stages that there is a neutral platform out there that they can participate, right? That's a starting point. For example, when it comes to this kind of knobs, right, we have this principle of not bringing marketing and branding in, right? It's always kind of a controversial topic, right? So last 2 years, what we did was we started this thing called Business Track. We gave dedicated slots to premium sponsors, but what we did was we carved out, gave them a separate room, created a clear demarcation, right? A lot of people questioned it, but our intention was not to sell products. Our intention was that some vendors could bring in a different community of corporate companies to come in as well, right? And surprisingly, what happened? The guys who were given dedicated slots to talk about products realized that in order to attract crowds from the other sessions, they also had to talk about vendor technology agnostic topics as well, right? So these are things that you could play around. So there isn't a definitive answer, but it's just, one is starting from the source, academia, and then trying inventive ways, trial and error, to see how could you broaden your audience, I guess. It's not a direct answer, but I'm just kind of putting it out there.
But thank you very much. So yourself and then Dave, was it? You had an online question. Amrita, okay, yes, go to you first.
I think we are here quite fortunate people because there are Apricot, APNIC, then ICANN, or so many good bodies, and there are very good, brilliant peoples. They have laid down the policies and procedures until to date. So this is the forum, and these organizations and also the government bodies, they should come up with announcing these forums to be more encouraged for the user end, so that these are being raised or these are being heard by the people. And I also want to add the academia part to inform these issues to the in various ways, so that these technical peoples or technical jargons could be heard by or understood by the wider place. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And what I'm hearing for our APNIC staff is that we need to be able to communicate better what those policies are. We need to communicate what the impact is, and for different stakeholders. I'm going to go to Amrita first online, if that's okay, and then we'll get to Zaya.
Okay.
Amrita first, please, online. Sorry. Hang on, Zaya. Amrita, do you want to unmute? No? Should
Thanks,
I?
Joyce.
Oh.
I was unmuted. I hope I'm
Hello,
audible.
Amrita. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you so much. And this is a great session, Joyce, for one. I think you should continue it. Three things which comes to my mind for encouraging. One is to encourage more attendees to at least subscribe to the APNIC policy mailing list. That is one. There are many technical community people who do not like to write. So perhaps if you have discussions and list out issues, there could be some people who may help them to articulate it in words. So perhaps having more brainstorming session to find out issues which have a policy impact, and then discuss. because not everyone is good at writing. So that could be something. These are two things which I could think. Obviously, mentorship is something which can help. And I believe if you are having the pilot policy development program, that may be a great help. So these were things which I could think of. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Amrita. And I love that idea of first we have to provide that platform where we're able to listen to people's needs. We need to gather the needs first and then do a thingamajig, provide those skills where then they can somehow be proficient enough to draft and write that policy. So still a lot of work to be done, especially I think on the APNIC Secretariat side. And I'll get to Zaya, go ahead.
Okay, can I share just my little experience about the policy development thing? Okay, my first APRICOT was 2014, 11 years ago. Back in days, I was engineer. I mean, I know just technical side thing. After that, after I attended the APRICOT, I learned more technical things, but there is something special policy things happening other side of APRICOT. I confused it, and I ask myself, do I need to learn other things? Okay, next time I will try it. And maybe in Mongolia, we need to try hold some kind of familiar meeting. Yeah, I mean NOG. Yeah, Network Operators Group. So, long time ago, I just thinking, and suddenly Dr. Felice Smith and other guys came to Mongolia, and we discussed it, and we initiated APNIC. It's almost 6 years ago. So during that time, every Mongolian company who run in the internet industry, they don't care about what is happening at the ICANN, APNIC. They just care about the money, how much money we can earn this year, hey guys. So now, mindset is fully changed. Why? Why? Because we changed their mindset. I mean, means APNIC. We invited all of colleagues from the different companies, yeah? And every company who run in ISP, IX, and triple IPTV, UIP, now companies understand, oh, I got it, we got it. We need to send our guys to the APNIC, APRICOT, and maybe also it's time to we need discuss about the policy things. So therefore, that's why this year almost 25 or maybe 30 Mongolians came here to attend APRICOT. Yeah. That's my experience. Also, other side of the thing, I now interested in ICANN things. Yeah, there is a lot of complicated things, but I have attended 3 times ICANN, and now I'm understanding and what they are talking about. What is the consensus approach? So, by the way. Just thank you. I understand everything, but it almost takes 10 years, yeah, to understand everything because now I'm not engineer. I'm at the management things, yeah. So it means maybe sometimes it's difficult to understand everything from the technical or engineer sides. Maybe it will take more times. Maybe I don't know. It's my side. History.
Thanks so much, Zaya. And I want to pick up on that point about the role of NOGs and how influential and effective NOGs can be when it comes to policy development. Because this is your time and your space to talk about the policies that are coming up, or maybe even talk about policies that you think you should need. So I'll leave it there. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. And I know we extended for a bit, but I also want to make sure you all get on the bus for the social. So last question. And I tweaked the last question, actually, because I saw the first question. I thought there'll be more no's, but I've changed it. So now this is, will you exercise your right to have a say in how the internet is run? So this is different from, do you have a say? This is, will you now exercise your right to do so? So we should be looking at 8 policy proposals, 9 policy coming out at next conference, yeah? At least 11 comments, right? Yeah? Bertrand, you have a lot of work to do now. Lots of people want to exercise their rights. Any more? It's totally okay to say no. It's fine. No feelings are hurt. We can manage to make more sessions as needed, as Bertrand says.
During one APNIC meeting, there was so many policy proposals, we had to have 3 sessions. It was intense, but it was very good. So yeah, again, you have a say. People will be listening to you. So I second what you say with the NOGs. I think all the NOGs should do something like the Japanese policy steering forum does, and have a look at the proposals and discuss them. And maybe some NOGs could even put up a proposal. And again, if you happen to hear a conversation outside with people trying to work out a way to do things differently, tell them to put a proposal down. And if they're not able to draft it properly, because yeah, sometimes, especially when English is not your native language, you can ask help. You can ask, even APNIC Secretariat will at least guide you on how to do things. And you can have a look at the other old proposals, see how it was drafted. It's not that hard.
You also want to speak on the OPM?
Yep. So we've got, on Wednesday, we've got the open policy meeting. We've got 2 proposals to deal with this time. Both of them are about UHIs. It's going to be a very interesting session. So I encourage every single one of you to come to the session and participate, express yourselves. Or if you're too shy to do so, at one stage you're going to have to raise your hand. Just do it. Because it's frustrating as policy SIG chair or co-chair to ask for consensus, and when you see only 2 people expressing themselves in a room full of 150 people, how do we do things if nobody says nothing?
Thanks very much. And in closing, thank you for being such great participants. I hope you felt that you were involved in this. This is itself almost like a policy development session. So I encourage you to exercise your right. Thank you.
Only one of you, only one of me. There's a million of those who won't let us be, but they're not gonna see me bleed. Cause baby, I got you. I've been beaten to the ground, dragged across the dirt. I've been scared to live cause some people never learn, but they're not gonna watch me burn. Cause baby, I got you. It's a new beginnings and a better life. It's the dancing underneath the disco lights. They can try, but they can never take me down. Ooh, 'cause I'm not afraid, I'm not afraid, I'm not